The man from La Mancha, Don Quixote, tilting at windmills. And these, over there, are some of the windmills that Don Quixote was supposed to have tilted at. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. So right now I'm in an apartment in a place called Consuegra. So we've left Toledo and we've come to Consuegra in Castilla La Mancha. This is very much Don Quixote country, because if you've heard the expression tilting at windmills, well, the 11 windmills on the hill here are, I believe, supposed to be the windmills that he tilted at. I don't know if that's true, if that's what the actual setting in the book was or not, I don't know. But there are 11 old windmills and a castle on the hill here, Castilla de Consuegra. We're here for one night. This is the apartment we're in for the night. That means I've got an opportunity for one sunset shoot tonight and one sunrise shoot tomorrow morning. So I'll make the most of that. And that will be wrapping up our Castilla La Mancha trip. If you're new to my channel and you enjoy this video, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you're not new to my channel and you're not yet a subscriber, then also please consider hitting subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's go and have a look at some windmills. Okay, so back up at the windmills. It's an hour before sunset and I've come up here to give myself a chance to find a composition and see what I can get. There's a little bit of cloud around, but the big challenge is going to be the wind. It was windy earlier when I was up here. It's a lot stronger now. So I'm going to have to try to find some kind of shelter, I think. Something sheltered from the wind to set up. Otherwise it's going to be almost impossible. We'll see what we can find. I thought I'd found a composition, but the wind is absolutely brutal here. I'm going to have to find somewhere else. Okay, so I went up there to try and get a shot looking along those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 windmills. I wanted to get up closer because the first 3 are in a bit of a cluster, but the problem I've got is the wind up there is just insane. It's absolutely brutal. And there's just no, you can barely stand up in it. So that's not going to work. So what I've decided to do, I've come down into the shelter provided by the castle. This is Castilla de Consuegra. And it's blocking the wind, which means I stand a reasonable chance of being able to stand up while I'm trying to do some photography. So what I think I'm going to do, instead of going with a wide angle, fairly wide angle lens and shooting close in, I'm going to shoot from a distance and see what I can do there. Okay, so I've got a shot set up. So my tripod is here. I'm keeping it a little bit lower because the wind is still whipping across the top here. So I've put it up higher, the wind's really battering into the side of the camera. 70 to 200 lens, probably about 84, 85 millimeters. And basically what I've got is this roadway going in from the bottom of the frame up, and then the windmills form a line across the middle of the frame. There's a lot of blue sky in there as well, but this will be cropped 16 by 9, I would think. I don't think it's going to be any taller than that. It's not really the image I was hoping for, but with the wind being what it is, there's just no way I can get a shot up nearer to the windmills at this end. Hopefully in the morning the wind will have dropped, and maybe I can go up to the far end and shoot back this way with the castle in the frame. But I know if it's anything like earlier, the wind up at the far end is even worse than it is down here, so it'd just be impossible. So I'm set up and I'm just going to wait and see what happens with the light. It's about 35 minutes until sunset. Surprising the number of people there are about up here despite the wind. It seems people like to just walk up here, walk up to the end and come back. But there's also a few people coming up in cars, and unfortunately one car's driven up and parked right in what was sort of the first part of my shot. So I've just recomposed slightly. I've moved a little bit over to one side, and I've zoomed in to probably about 86, 87 mil just to cut out where that car is. And the image is still basically the same otherwise. We've still got about 20 odd minutes, 22 minutes until sunset. But basically this is all going to be about the light on the side of those windmills, molinas. It's a real shame there's some nice clouds over that way. If I could shoot looking this way, we might have a nice sky to go with it, but it's just not possible. Also at the moment, the light's just gone off the scene. So all the contrast on the sides of the windmills has gone. Now the sun is setting over that way, and I can't actually see what's happening with the clouds over there. But it might be that those clouds are just going to block the light. I'm going to hang on anyway and see what happens. Okay, so that's it for the evening. Colours have all faded now. Such a shame about that wind, just absolutely brutal. And there was no way I could get up to the far end and shoot. It was just far too windy. So I'm heading back now. We've got an apartment which is about a 20-minute walk away, and I'll be back for the sunrise. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the wind will have dropped a bit. Only thing is, the forecast for tomorrow morning is 0 cloud, but we'll see what we can do with it. So until the morning. Okay, it's morning now. I'm heading back up to the windmills again, and it's still windy. I don't think it's quite as windy as last night, but I'm not really sure. Well, we're here. We might as well see what we can do. Okay, it's still quite breezy, but it's doable. I've got a little bit of shelter from this windmill behind me, and I've set up a shot here looking down this way, where I've basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windmills, and then the castle, which is the Castilla La Consuegra. I've set my shot up, tripod is here, I've got the 50mm prime lens on. I'm focusing on the second windmill in, which is giving me enough back to front sharpness, and at the moment f11 ISO 64 I can get a shot at 30 seconds. So I'm going to take that now, and then we'll wait and see what happens as the sun comes up in about 30 minutes. There's a load of people turned up, about 7 or 8 cars, they're all milling around, including another photographer who's set up down there, although he has actually set up by a post, so he's partially hidden. So I've adjusted my composition to try and block them out, but they're just kind of everywhere. I don't know what they're doing, they're all just standing in a big group down there. But it might be that I'm going to have to move because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get a decent shot. I'll see what I can do. So what I've done is I've adjusted my composition to cut out a load of the foreground, because it's not that interesting anyway. And hopefully that means that as long as people don't start getting up around the windmills, it's not going to be too much of a problem. And just waiting to see what happens when the sun comes up, which hopefully shouldn't be too much longer. This image is going to be cropped 16 by 9 at least, maybe even 2:1, because there's no interest in the sky at all. So I'm looking for like a wide image. It'd be like a panorama, but I'm not shooting it as a pano. I can crop this down 2:1 and it will still be a big image. Well, there's obviously some kind of big group thing going on behind me here. All these people that turned up, and it looks like maybe they're having photos taken, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a tour group or a corporate outing or what, I don't know. But I'm just hanging around and waiting. The sun should be coming up in about 5 minutes, but there's a band of cloud out there on the horizon which might block it for the first 5 minutes or so. But I'm hoping to still get some nice light on the side of the windmills. It's a shame that cloud over in the background over there isn't higher up. That would make for a nicer scene, but it's still nice. Okay, the sun's putting in an appearance over there now. Coming through some very low cloud down there. So I'm hoping we'll start to get some light hitting the side of the windmills and the castle in the next couple of minutes, and that'll be the best time to take a shot. We might also get a little bit of colour in those clouds out there. Hopefully it will look quite nice. Okay, sun's coming up. We see one side of my face is lit up. That means we should hopefully starting to get some light on the sides of the windmills and on the side of the castle. At the moment, f11, ISO 64, 1/4 of a second, and that's at 50mm, and focused on, I think it's the second windmill. So as normal, I'm exposing to process, so I've got my histogram as far to the right as I can get without blowing the highlights, and then what I'll do is I'll reduce the exposure and also boost the contrast in post, which will bring out more of the shadows and highlights, and that will work quite nicely, I think. That light's starting to pick out even better now, so we'll take another shot. Okay, that's it. Sun's been up for about 15 minutes now, so the light's starting to get a bit harsh, and I think it's time to pack up and head back to our rental apartment, which we were in last night, have a bit of breakfast, and then hit the road heading for home, because this is the end not only of Consuegra and the windmills, but it's also the end of our Castilla La Mancha trip. But I hope you've enjoyed these 2 videos and what's been going on. If you have, well, don't forget about likes and shares, and of course subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. And if you are a subscriber, then of course thank you very much, I appreciate that. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I'd love to hear from you, comments down below, and until the next video, thank you very much. Bye.